some reason, you're listening to Hoppothetically. Enjoy. All right, we're back. Episode 18.
Let's do it. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
We have to have banter. Banter me.
Okay, banter.
Banter me good. Banter me.
I'm trying. I'm
right.
having a truly watermelon. That's fun. You do that.
You call that banter?
Well, sometimes you just start and you name the drink.
Oh, yeah, I know how to do it. I'm having a Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra for when your vagina gets too fat. See, that's banter.
Was that a mom? Was that a commentary on moms, or
wasn't really a commentary? It was more of an ad. Michelob Ultra.
Does it make your vagina fat, or is it for once your vagina becomes too fat, you then are just like Michelob Ultra is the drink? Okay.
Both. Once your vagina gets fat, and you're like, let's go all the way. Then you have Michelob Ultra.
Oh, and then you're hooked and they get you forever.
Even more fat.
Mm-hmm. Our mother drinks Michelob Ultra.
You like a fat vagina, Nathan?
No.
That's why you're drinking Truly.
Okay. I'm going to do my first question now.
Wait, do you think we've done enough banter?
Yeah,
I feel like I bantered you, but you didn't really banter me.
No, I'm not really. I don't really
banter me.
Banter.
Take off the hat and banter me. For anyone who's listening, I have a standing desk, and I'm also on a personal treadmill. I suppose in a sense they're all personal, but it's smaller than a normal treadmill that you'd see at a gym. I saw a video of myself doing stand-up the other day, and I just looked like Nathan. It was horrible. So now I have a treadmill and, trying to work that Nathan.
I'm excited for when you... at some point trip and fall because you're doing some kind of weird bit with your hands or something, and you fall over, and then it becomes just a Nathan pod. That's the goal. I'm secretly trying to kill you so that I can.
Is it going to be just the Nathan podcast?
Yeah, just the Nathan podcast. It'll be called Nathethetically.
It won't be called Fat Nate?
No, it won't be called Fat Nate, the podcast.
Well, drop the.
If it's, Fat Nate.
Fat Nate podcast.
I'd probably call it Fat Nate Pattycast because that seems like it goes with Fat Nate more. You just listen to videos of me eating, which would be terrible for just audio listeners. But I think on YouTube,
do you think the video people would be like, no, you got to check it out on YouTube. There's a lot you're missing, a lot of subtext. It's actually a social commentary on the American.
Yeah. The eyes are the window to the soul. You really, unless you see his eyes as he eats that fourth.
The mouth is the window to Nathan's soul.
Do we questions?
Sorry, what were you saying? I feel man said last episode I interrupted you too much. So before I said the mouth was the window to your soul, implying you were a big fatty. What were you saying?
I wasn't saying anything.
Nothing.
There's nothing of note after that. I have nothing to add at all.
Do you ever get exhausted by talking?
I'm going to say my question now. Okay. So do you remember the second Spider-Man movie? The one with Doc Ock?
No sniffles.
Okay. Do you know Doc Ock from the second Spider-Man movie?
It's not in your hand right now. It's not in your hand, and then show me the snot. So I know you're not going to sniffle.
I'm not going to do that.
You should have just been called Doctopus.
I don't think people would take him.
It's me, Doctopus.
Yeah, I think people would not. I think the problem is, I think people would start to chuckle a little bit when he came in with the intimidating entrance. Like the bricks would explode behind the wall. It's like, it's Doctopus, and then everyone would kind of like snicker, and all the tension he just built in that moment is just all gone. And
that would be his origin. It'd be like, they laugh at me, they laugh at Doctopus, but who's laughing now?
And he would have to overcompensate. So like once he breaks into the room and he says, I'm Doctopus or whatever, and he does the little hand wave, everyone would snicker, and you have to like immediately kill someone to get the room back. He has to like let the audience know this is his show.
If you start a solo podcast, you should call it Doctopus.
I'm not going to call it Doctopus.
You should call it Fat Doctopus.
I'm not going to call it Fat Doctopus.
Factopus. That sounds like you're a cat who knows things. Okay. I wanted to be clear that you're a fat Doctopus. Factopus, not a cat who knows things. Factopus.
Sounds like a fact with a vagina. Like it doesn't sound like a
vagina that says actually.
Can I do the question?
Can you?
Okay, so do you remember? I'm not going to ask. So, Dr. Octopus.
You were about to say Doctopus. You almost said Doctopus. Okay, I bet you could beat Dr. Octopus by just introducing the concept of Doctopus, because people would start saying it, and he'd be like, "It's not Doctopus."
Yeah,
it's Dr. Octavian. It's not even Dr. Octopus.
You have to do a little. He's like, it's not Doctopus, and you're like, well, check the Wikipedia page. Actually, it says Doctopus.
Yeah, official Doctopus.
It's like, you changed that.
The way I would beat Doctopus is I would buy www.doctopus.com. I would get the Doctopus name going. Then he would want to buy the domain from me. $4 million, Doctopus, 8 dicks.
You build a Doctopus Twitter and you get it really popular and you
At
start
Doctopus.
at Doctopus, and you get that blue check mark. And then you own him because he comes out and you're like, well, I have a blue check mark. What do you got? And he's like, well,
and then he tries to have his own Twitter and I ban him for being a fake. That's not Doctopus. I'm Doctopus.
Yeah, you would do at real Doctopus.
At the real Doctopus.
Yeah. I mean, you would get some of your fans probably from throwing on QAnon conspiracies. It's hard to get like people to retweet you and shit and QAnon stuff, but some of it would be Doctopus related.
Oh, no way. I don't agree. I'd be all Doctopus all the time.
You wouldn't.
I would be like,
you wouldn't give in to
alt-right. It's summer, having a glass of rosé, and what's this? 7 more glasses of rosé. It'd be all my, hands.
You wouldn't.
Actually, he only has 4 robot arms, 2 arms. He's counting his feet as part of the 8. You ever notice that?
No. Can I do my question now? We haven't even.
Do you have a question?
I did. We haven't even gotten to the question yet. So
was your question not Doctopus?
No, it wasn't. No, I write my questions. You're the one who does bad puns as questions. Okay.
Octopus isn't a pun. It's a lifestyle.
It's a
brand. It started a network like Oprah.
It's a brand actually.
Yeah, the Doctopus Network. And I would have sad women on there, and they would talk about
8 sad
their
women,
husbands,
and there'd be 8 shows of 8 sad women. The question is,
Octopus.
No, okay. So Doctopus, fine. We'll call him Doctopus for the rest. For the rest of the question for the original Spider-Man 2. When I was little, I thought the plot point of the movie, like he puts on the robot arms and then he becomes evil, and I didn't really understand why. So I thought literally one of the plot points of the movie was that having more hands just makes you more evil.
There's more crimes you could do. He's like,
yeah.
Most people wake up and they're like, well, I could do 2 crimes. 1 with each hand, but what's the point of that? I mean, that's not even that much crimes.
Yeah, like there's some morality is absolute and is entirely based on the number of hands you have. So like 1-armed people are going to be more
saintly.
Yeah, they're going to be more saints. Like Mother Teresa had no arms. That's what they don't talk about with her.
No armed people, yeah.
Yeah, they're saints and they're beautiful. And I really thought that there was in this world that the number of hands you had and how big your hands were entirely decided how good or evil you were. And I didn't understand why Spider-Man wasn't disarming people in a more literal sense as a means to stop crime.
You didn't understand why Spider-Man wasn't ripping their arms off of them to make them more just
good.
And Well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and he would know it. He was hanging out with Doc Ock as Peter Parker the whole time.
It's actually Doctopus.
Doctopus. He was hanging out with Doctopus the whole time. When he became at Real Doctopus on Twitter, he became that. So he would know. And I don't know why he didn't. I mean, he'd have to first tell everybody that morality is entirely based on arms. But even if he didn't, he could just start ripping off people's arms.
What if Doctopus had his 4 arms put on and then he got addicted to the extra arms and he just kept adding more arms, and eventually he added 100 arms and he was Doctopede.
Would he still kind of crawl like a centipede?
Yeah, he would have 96 prosthetic arms plus his arms, and he's still counting his legs again. Doctopede.
I think it's a kind of a snake eating itself. I don't think people would stop him. Like, I don't think people would be like, we need to stop him, stop crime. I think just we'll give it enough time.
I mean, every time he would fight Spider-Man and lose, he would add more arms. Like, the problem was not enough arms.
Yeah. At some point, he'd become like an Akira kind of situation where he wouldn't really be kind of just a mesh of arms.
Yeah, he would be, now I'm Millipus.
Is this where the whole thing is going to go? Are you just gonna keep making bad puns?
I thought Doctopede.
I thought the concept of a universe where more arms is like arms are based on like the number of arms is based on your like morality. I thought there was more there, but sure.
When the Nazis would like goose step and do the thing, they would do the Nazi salute. Maybe that's like they're giving Hitler all these arms.
I think it would
so many arms.
Yeah,
that's why he's so evil.
Yeah, just all the arms.
They're just beaming evil into him.
Mm-hmm. I think some of it would.
Maybe it wasn't. Sorry, you go.
Okay,
you go. You could.
Okay.
You talk.
Okay, I'll talk. I think some of it had to. It makes all the Indian religions with the weird like 20 armed gods very confusing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Racist.
Baby monster. What?
You're a racist.
No, it's the number of, they pick the number of arms, and they knew the arm to moral.
I don't know if they knew the arm to moral rule.
Everybody knows the arm. Why wouldn't you? How would you not? That'd be so easy to figure out.
Sounds like the arms rule started with Spider-Man 2, which is pretty recent.
Yeah, and that was one of the most popular movies of its time. It's a cult classic. If you didn't see that movie and you don't know about the arm to moral rule, I think that's really on you as a person.
So you're saying these Indian religions like Hindu and stuff,
they should have
after they saw Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, they should have changed because they saw
they were the only negative reviews for Spider-Man 2.
They were just like, no,
wish I didn't see it.
I went with my son. Now he's questioning our entire faith. Just see how many arms they have. Yeah.
If you were a mad doctor, what animal would you fashion yourself after?
I would be a giraffe, but I would also exclusively do it through.
You'd be a giraffe?
Yeah, but I would do it through arm extensions in the exact same way. Yeah, I would have arms that would kind of go up and hold my head. That's how I would do it.
How would your head? So is your head disconnected from your body?
No, I do.
Does that help you beat Spider-Man?
No, I do that thing where you put the rings on the neck to grow the neck out. Yeah. I don't know if it actually grows the neck or just lowers the shoulders, but
Spider-Man would be like, Dr. Raff, please don't eat the leaf on the tallest tree. Don't. It's so evil if you do that. And you're like, you're too late, Spider-Man.
I'm like Poison Ivy, where I defend nature, but only the high parts of nature, not like
only so you can eat it later.
Yeah, I don't defend the shrubs. I defend the tall trees, but only the tops of the tall trees.
The reason you hate Spider-Man so much is because when he swings with his webs, he gets a lot of the branches that you wanted to eat.
Yeah, it's like, bro, that's my food. Yeah.
If you were Dr. Raff, what would your doctorate be in?
Sociology.
I was going to say.
Yeah, right?
You really can see civilization from your vantage point way up there.
Yeah.
By the tallest trees.
People don't like me at parties. I just talk about kind of the evolution of gender throughout society and how we need to protect the tops of trees. And it doesn't do. Mostly Spider-Man attacks me when I'm chatting at social events because I'm ruining it for everybody. I don't really do crime. There's not that many crimes I can do related to tops of trees. There's like
Spider-Man would be a tough hero for you to fight because most heroes can't just swing up there and kick you right in the face.
Yeah, no.
So you don't really defend it much because you're like, I usually won't get kicked in the face. I'm way up here. But Spider-Man.
And I mean, honestly, just a man could solve the problem. There's all this big metal stuff on my neck. There's no balance. You could just push me a little bit. I'm going to fall over.
What if you were a sociologist, like in The Amazing Spider-Man, maybe Amazing Spider-Man 2, where you wanted to change everyone into lizards? What if you thought the way
That's the Amazing Spider-Man. That's the Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay. What if you thought you could bring about equity, diversity, and inclusion into the world by lengthening everyone's necks? Is this the beginning of a good movie? Everyone's necks are different lengths. And it's creating intense inequality and strength.
Wait. Do I want everyone at the same length neck, or do I want everyone to have long neck?
The long necks that are the same length.
Okay, because I'd be worried that it'd be like, I want everyone to have the same length necks. For short length necks people, I do nothing. But when there's tall length necked people, I'd get a saw out. Like, we're gonna fix this.
Remove neck.
Yeah, we're just going to remove somebody. Yeah. So I guess I would be a horrifying. Most of the other villains are just trying to rob banks. I am sawing people's heads off and then like sewing them back together. Like, I'd be a real villain. I don't have more for that.
I would be a deer. I would be a robot deer.
What would you?
I would just be skittish.
Would you have antlers?
No, my power would be that I just keep getting hit by cars. Ruin people's cars.
Wait, is it like a scheme? Like you're trying to make money? Like you get like hit by a car and then they would
No. I have regular schemes. I'm like, I want to rob a bank, but I always get hit by a car on the way there and when I'm trying to flee. And Spider-Man
only female deer don't have. So would you have a robot vagina?
And it'd be cute.
That would be very cute.
No one would ever see it because I would be so skittish.
I think people would just think
unless they hit me with their car and then I got all splayed out.
I think people would think you're a nervous transgender person. I don't think anyone would get deer.
They would get deer.
That's my main problem with this pitch right now is I don't think people would get, oh, you're a deer because you have a vagina and you're scared of cars. I don't even think people would notice the scared of cars thing or the vagina.
I'm not scared of cars. I just get hit by them a lot.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't think people would notice. I mean, you would just be a guy in a wheelchair that'd be screaming, I have a deer vagina.
On a wheelchair? No, that's part of my ability is that I can just keep getting hit by cars. I'm in the bank
and you're
fine. I'm like, everybody on the ground. I'm rubbing this bank. And then Spider-Man comes in and he says some pun like, I'm going to kick you in your fucking deer face, you little bitch deer, or something clever.
No. He wouldn't do that the first time. You would just be like, oh, you're a robber. And you'd be like, but do you notice anything else about me? And he'd be he would bust in
and I wouldn't say anything. And I would just go like, and just get real still.
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, there's a very scared robber. It's like, I would
be so still. And then I would sort of hop away. Like I would, prance away and then get hit by a car.
This very fruity robber has just gotten hit by a car. I guess my job is done. I don't think you would get to deer.
I'm not fruity. Antlers. I'm primal, like a deer.
I think, okay, how would you hop away primally?
Oh, I can't do it on the treadmill. I'm on a treadmill right now.
That's
for the folks at home. I'm on a treadmill.
Once again, I was trying to get you from earlier. I said I was going to kill you with that treadmill. One gag at a time.
Primal deer. I would eat a little bird right in front of Spider-Man, right in front of Aunt May.
Once again, are you going to go to Aunt May's house?
Aunt May would let me in because I'm so majestic.
You should get into improv if you're that good at pretending to be a deer where people are thinking that it's like, you know what? That was a deer. I got it. I know what you're going for.
My real super ability would be my scene work.
There's nothing else. You're not.
I would be like, give me a location. And they'd be like Starbucks, and I would be a deer in Starbucks, and people could just be like, wow, it's like I'm seeing a deer at Starbucks. And then I'd be like, now we're in a canoe. And they're like, how did that canoe get into Starbucks? And they'd laugh, and I'm a deer.
No, you're one note. You're deer man. You're not a canoe man. You can't. And this would all go well until you get hit by a car and you got knocked out, but you would knock out like a deer because you're really good at it. And then the guy would come out and be like, oh man, there's a deer. I better just take it home and eat it. And then he'd put it on top.
That would be the hardest thing is drivers they'd always be trying to put me out of my misery. They would. And I would say, life is going very well for me. Stop trying to crush my head with a rock. Just because you hit me with a car, that's my thing.
And they would try to shush you, like, shh, deer. I'm like, no, I'm speaking English. It's like, that's you're speaking deer right now. I couldn't.
They'd be like, they'd have their rock, and they're like, it's okay. And I'd be like, I'm at a Starbucks. And they'd be like, wow, it really feels like I'm squishing your head at a Starbucks.
You would have to watch out. You couldn't ever go to like a park or anything. People would shoot you. You'd get shot. Also, I think even as an improv person, you wouldn't be well liked because he's like, yeah, man, he has the deer down, but like, we don't need a deer in every scene.
What if there was a real, like, this is actually kind of a pitch. What if there was a supervillain who his ability, like, he was like the evil improv guy. And if anybody ever did give him a suggestion, he could make everyone around him believe they were in the thing. Hello? Sort of like Mysterio, but like improv.
He would have to do it. He would have to start every crime at an improv show.
No, you'd start, you'd be robbing a bank. Spider-Man comes in and you'd go, are there any birthdays tonight? Oh, how old are you turning? Yes. And can we get a location and an object and a mood? And Spider-Man would be all annoyed. And I'd go, hey, Spider-Man. And they'd say, in the jungle, a bowling pin.
I don't think they would.
And then suddenly Spider-Man would think he was in the jungle and there'd be a bowling pin and he'd be feeling silly. And then I would shoot him in the face with a gun.
None of the improv stuff mattered at all.
It was very important because the crowd had fun.
Yeah, but the problem I have is you are at the whim of the crowd. What if
I have a gun? I came there 20 minutes early and I told the lady, I say, hey, I'm going to say this. You're going to say it's your birthday. You're going to say you're turning 34. I'm going to say happy birthday. Then you're going to say the jungle bowling pin silly. And I'm going to fucking kill your hero.
No, I think there's going to be a scene where you're going to be like, is it anyone's birthday? And then a little kid's just going to keep screaming it's his birthday.
Oh, I guess we're going to watch a kid die. That's going to be,
I think you're going
to be like, give me an object. And they're going to be like a young corpse. And I'm going to be like something else.
I think you're gonna be like the little kids are like, it's my birthday, and then you're gonna pull the gun and shoot him. You're like, is it anyone else's birthday? And then people are like, dude, we don't even want to do we don't want to do this improv game, man. You just shot a kid.
No, they'll be excited about it.
Yeah, it was his birthday too. He was turning 11. You didn't even let him pick the scene. You just shot him with an actual gun. You let him pick
whether he gets cremated. All right. So, you're on you have a girlfriend, right? Both of us have a long-term girlfriend. Let's say you're out hanging out with some people and you sort of flirt with a girl who you know. That's no big deal. Just a little bit of flirting. If you guys kissed, obviously that would be a problem. Sex, even more so. What if you just butt fisted? Like you didn't even flirt. You just go to dinner as coworkers, totally normal. You go back to her place. Again, very professional, talking about work, and she just puts her whole hand in your butt.
Oh, I'm the one getting butt fisted. Okay.
You are getting butt fisted. Is that cheating? Would you feel you needed to? And then my question is, if that is actually answer, is that cheating?
Is it cheating?
Would you feel to tell your girlfriend, hey, and you didn't come and she didn't come and you talked about work throughout?
I mean, I remember when I was in high school, you talked about like first base, second base, and third base.
This is the dugout.
Yeah, this is the dugout. And I remember when they talked about the dugout, it's not technically cheating, if I remember.
Because you're not on the field.
Yeah, no, if I remember this right, from 5th or 6th grade, when you learned about this, you learned about the birds and the bees. I think I remember if you bring up 3 work-related questions and 3 different work-related topics while getting butt fisted, you are technically not at the dugout, and it's just a work-related incident. Yeah, at least that's how
you think it's fine.
I mean, provided you bring up the work stuff, and the work stuff has to be important too. It has to be stuff that you actually. It can't just be like
current.
Yeah.
It can't be shit talking the boss.
No,
It has to be productive, billable hours.
Billable hours. That's
because it has to be more productive than your coworker would be with 2 hands. And because she has only 1 hand.
And it has to be stuff that you need to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't just be shit. Like, oh, this could have waited till Monday. It's like, there's a fist in my ass, Susan. You need to bring that shit up now. It has to be a really important thing. Like, the only way that you could have fully expressed whatever business related strategy is by just putting your fist up my ass.
So I guess there's that. So I guess we're in agreement on that. But if you did think getting ass fisted alone was cheating, my second question would be, what if she only went in and out of your ass once? Just in, out, like she punched into your asshole.
Well, everybody knows the out part of when you're getting penetrated in any way. The coming out part is the cheating. The coming in isn't cheating.
But if she just left her fist in your ass,
and
then came to your house with you, and you just, the 3 of you hung out.
Yeah, and she was like, and your girlfriend was just like, "Oh, hey, wow, you brought a friend home." And then once she's like, "I got to take my hand out," you're just like, "You just cheat on me?
What the fuck?"
Yeah, what the fuck did you just?
And you're like, "No, it's still in there. It's still in there." You're just putting her hand on your butt, like she's still.
Yeah, you're jamming. You're like trying to get it back in. Yeah. I think but it's clearly the coming out part that's the cheating, not the other part. That's not. I mean, that's why Mormons. That's kind of what Mormons believe, right? With soaking.
It's a little different. If I went to, do you think how would it go if I went to the Mormon, if I called the town hall and was like, guys, ass fisting? I mean, what are we doing? Why haven't we been on that? Sorry, it wouldn't be everybody. It would just be the unmarried Mormon children. I'd be like, kids, ass fist.
You would go to a bunch of very religious children and try to get them into ass fisting?
Yeah, I'd be like, don't have coffee, don't have alcohol, ass fist.
Is it a morning or night thing?
I would say it's a before dinner. You don't want to have too much food in the belly.
This is kind of a fun one. This is an awkward first date scenario. So you're going on a first date. It's going pretty well, right? You're chatting it up. It's going good. You really like her. She's really nice, but you think you've seen her from somewhere. You're like, I know your face. And then when she goes to the bathroom, you're like, I have to know, who is this person? Is it a celebrity? So you look it up and you realize that she is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
That's where I know her from?
Yeah, that's where you've seen her from. And then she comes back to the table and it's like, what do you do?
And then I look around and I'm like, oh, everyone in this restaurant is dead and on fire.
No,
how did I not notice? You're like, so what are you in town for? And she's just like, I'm in town for a work thing. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, you're like, are you just looking for a hookup because it's the end, or do you got some time?
I would pretend I didn't know. I would play it classy.
You'd be classy
and
about
once the apocalypse did start, I wouldn't text immediately, even though the apocalypse was started. I would play it cool. I wouldn't want her to think the only reason this guy's texting me is because it's the apocalypse and he wants me to, not make his friends and family burst into flames. And it's like, no, I like women for women, not for like how they can help me social climb.
I wouldn't even, when my family was getting burned to death and dying from war and death and famine and all that, I wouldn't even bring it up. I'd be like, oh yeah, things are going well. Yeah. And even Oh, there's a
Yeah, if
scene
they
of the
asked how's it
world?
going, I'd be like, oh, as if to say, aren't we all in it, huh? I'd say, hey, at least we're not wearing the masks.
I
And
mean,
she would say, hey, can we not bring in politics? I would say, of course, that was sorry, that was uncouth of me. And then she would say, is uncouth a racial slur? And I would say, I don't know. I hope not, but I don't know.
I think for me, the biggest thing is I'm not looking for a hookup. And it feels like you're on a time crunch here. I'm looking for a commitment, and it feels like you're about to kill everyone in existence, you know? And I just don't know if that's compatible.
You would have the talk pretty early as she's gunning down everyone in the whole city. Like,
yeah.
I think. What are we?
I would also see if she'd get us free apps if she's famous. Like if I'm gonna die in a fiery hell as the Antichrist just steps on my genitals for all of eternity, I would like the muscles look good.
The
muscles look good.
It's pretty specific. What if people who are religious really thought that the devil was going to come to Earth and just kick you in the nuts? And you're a kid, and they're like, so Satan comes and he kicks everyone in the nuts, and like, no, just you. And they're like, You're like, who are you talking to? And it's like, you.
And
they go, well, you can't be talking to everyone. And they're like, yeah, you really want to roll those dice? Because he's going to come back and he's going to kick some bad little boy in the nuts for all eternity.
All of eternity.
You want that to be you? No, Father, I don't. Then suck my dick.
Do you imagine if that's what they wrote in the Bible? Just they wrote you like that, and just I think when Hitler died, people would be upset. They're like, fuck, dude. I'm pretty sure it was gonna be him, and now it can't be him now.
Oh, he would have been the bad little boy.
Yeah, you assume the worst person. So like once Hitler dies, you're like, okay, we still have Stalin. Then Stalin dies. And like, okay, so we still have who is the Chinese guy that was?
You almost said China guy, which is really close to Chinaman.
No, I didn't.
Which is really close to the N word, which is really close to the M word.
Yeah,
mom.
Okay.
What if the M? What if the M? Really, we got it going that the M word was mom, and then the N word was the N word. Like, whoa! If you're not even with these letter words things,
would moms get as offended?
Can we get back to business?
Okay. Yeah. Hey, what would you do on a first date if you found out that she was the?
I told you I would play it cool. I'd bring up that I had a dog. I'd bring up that I'm an airline pilot. Which
fair.
Is statistically the best thing you want to be on the dating apps. And she would make she would say, hey, why on the dating apps, all the men always holding a fish. And I would say, well, that's the only time people ever take a picture of men. And we would start really getting into the men's rights stuff, which is kind of my key area. She would be impressed with how much I know and all the statistics I'd be able to rattle off.
I don't think women like if you are really knowledgeable on the men's rights stuff.
And when she brought up the apocalypse, I would start mansplaining to her how the apocalypse works and the different famines and their historical significance. And we would not have sex, and I would call her a bitch.
That's how that would play out.
What if I had a first date with one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse and I came out looking like the bad guy? Yeah. Just like, that guy's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, people
She should kill everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, queen. Kill everyone, queen.
When she brings up the apocalypse, you just start talking about how many more men are going to die than women first or something. You're like, dude, way more men are going to die from it. And she's like, there's 52% of...
Like, men are kind of already used to this. I mean, we die in most of the wars, most of the crimes are men, blah, blah, blah.
And she'd bring up the world population statistics, and you're like, oh, it's 52% women, 48% men. So I'm actually going to kill more women than men. And then he'd just be like, well, yeah, because the men die quicker. That's why
the men are already dead and also less likely to graduate from college.
Yeah, you're like, the reason it's 48% men is because we die so much on the job.
We'll already have had asbestos poisoning and black lung and huge dongs giving us heart attacks from when we see it. Do you ever get a heart attack when you see your own dong? Is it so big?
Oh, I thought you were saying from seeing the other men's dongs.
No, dude, not gay.
I'm just
my own dong.
Oh, wow. That's still kind of gay.
No.
Looking at your own penis and then getting erect and then having a heart attack because you're so erect.
No. It's that I see my own penis and then I just have a heart attack. I don't get a boner. Every time I look at my own penis, I actually lose my boner because that's gay. It's really actually difficult. I've been in therapy for a long time.
If I was an EMT and I went to a person's apartment and they were like, how did he die? How did he die? And they're like, oh, he looked at his own penis. And then had a heart attack. I'd be like, is he erect? He's probably erect.
Not anymore.
I feel like the first thing I would check is for the erect penis. Not to say that if I was an EMT after everything, the first thing I would check for is an erect. That one particular I would check.
Flat Stanley. Like, what happened? How did he get flat? And then what if it turns out he doesn't actually like having his picture taken or traveling, but that's all he can do now that he's flat. Also, where are his kids? He's just leaving his flat kids at home with his fat wife.
Well, I think the sperm is flat. That makes it very hard to.
No, he had kids before he was flat.
No, he wasn't. He was a boy.
No, Flat Stanley's a 56-year-old man.
No, Flat Stanley's a young boy.
No, Flat Stanley is an adult man who's what if he doesn't have kids? What if he's a bachelor and he's just he's just like, I like to travel with kids. I like them to bring me to their grandpappy's house and we sit on the shelf and
that'd be devastating. I think people would, dude. I think if Flat Stanley ended up getting Me Too'd, all those young children that are sending those postcards with their Flat Stanleys would have to be like, they have to call their grandma and be like, Grandma, don't
open that, Grandma.
Don't open that. It's not.
On Twitter, people would be like, posting pictures of themselves like cutting Flat Stanley's head off with scissors and stuff. Hashtag dead Stanley.
I think if they're going to put him in prison, they should do an ironic prison where it's just a very large envelope that they fold and then put him in and they lick it and they close it shut. And they're like, well,
but they still have the sound of bars closing when they close the envelope. It's like,
yeah. How are you not Me Too'd sooner?
I don't even think Flat Stanley would need to Me Too, just if you found out that he was actually 56.
It would change.
And he's like, yeah, I mean, I started being Flat Stanley when I was 24 and it was the 80s. And, now, hey, here we are.
Yeah.
They're like, God damn, Flat Stanley. Doesn't that actually make you like 70? And he's like, shut the fuck up. He's actually 70. He lied about being 56. Flat Stanley is a maniac. What if, as a marketing thing, what if we invented adult Flat Stanley, where he's Flat Stanley, but he has a 3-dimensional not flat boner, and it's for like bachelorette parties and stuff.
So just
his hands are behind his head. And he's got a big rubbery pink cock.
I think it would just be a dildo cover.
No, we wouldn't sell it like that. We'd sell the penis included. We want official trademark Flat Stanley, not flat, pink rubbery penises.
Why is Flat
and I would sue anyone who put Flat Stanley on a different, not pink, not rubbery penis. I would sue them.
Well, the problem is Flat Stanley is already as an IP is already taken. You would have to pick like Hard Stanley or something. You couldn't do Flat Stanley.
It would be Flat Stanley with a boner, all one word, .com.
I'm positive this already exists.
This you think already exists?
Yeah, I do think it already exists. Also, to be totally honest, I think it's kind of stupid because if we're just getting real, I think Flat Stanley could do could have a flat penis, it doesn't matter, do cool flat sex stuff. I don't even think you would need it.
Describe cool flat sex stuff.
They would have to be really into origami, and then you do some fun origami sex stuff.
So not flat.
I mean, he's flat. Once they contour him just right, it could be like some very sexy paper. I think that's if people would have sex with.
A documentary about Flat Stanley being an absentee father. His wife, who is very fat out of protest of Stanley's flatness, because he's always like, I wish you were more flat. And he's like, I'll show you flat. And then she packs it on. And you know what's fucked up is I even saw the documentary and I can't remember her name. I'm just calling her Flat Stanley's fat wife. I mean, how fucked up is that?
Do you think because he's Flat Stanley, they would call her like Round Sharon?
If they could remember her name, I mean, it's really fucked up.
They would say round as if to make this joke, and they'd be like round.
Yeah, it's too bad. The victims never get ink like the criminals. That's what I say.
If you went home to visit your mother, how long do you think it would take for you to notice it was actually Christian Bale playing your mother, provided he was given 6 months to prepare for the role?
That's a really good question. I think it would take a long time. I think the only way I catch him is if he's ever in the bathroom out of character, and I'd be like, wait, is that a British man? And then it's my mom. And I'm like, God. Dude, honestly, this question fucks me up because my mom could be Christian Bale playing my mom, and I just haven't noticed for years. And there's really no way of knowing.
It could have. Your mother could just actually be Christian Bale, like from conception. Like, you have no idea.
I think Christian Bale is such a good method actor that if he was playing my mom, he could physically birth me with him pretending to have a vagina and a womb. He's just good scene work. He just he just plays off the doctor's energy, and he realized he's like, well, frankly, in the scene, it just seemed like a baby should come out of my butt. So, I just the thing is, it's not about preparation. It's about instincts. And I've been working and acting. It's the story of my birth.
The interviewer's like, no, but a baby came out of you, though. You just said you played off his energy. A human baby came out of your
and he's like, I don't really like to think of it as an individual thing. I think what was coming out of me was art. Art came out of me.
Christian Bale, did you put a baby in your asshole? Like, that's what everyone, I think for me, that's what I would think.
And he would say, look, I think Robert Pattinson's doing a really great job as Batman. The one thing I will say is have a zipper in the suit, if you know what I mean. And they would say, Christian Bale, that's so funny and charming. And you'd all forget that he had a baby.
Do you think it would take you a long time? Do you think you would ever know?
When he accepted the Oscar, I guess, is when I would know. And leading
for Nick's mom,
the Oscar for leading, I guess, for Christian Bale, Nick's mom. Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
And he'd go, "I'd like to thank Nick," and I'd go, "What?
would
you breastfed?" I'd go, "I'd like to really thank Nick."
I think, like, if you went to the Amazon and you were looking at giraffes, you were like, they look so beautiful, and then just one got closer, and like, oh my god, a giraffe's getting closer, and then you realized it was just Christian Bale.
Christian Bale eating leaves, preparing for his next role as Dr. Giraffe in Spider-Man 4.
I don't think there's a way I think you can just do it. And then if you have these magic shape-shifting powers, I've always thought it was so weird that he picked acting. You could do anything with that. He could be anything. Why would he be an actor?
He is probably you know how when people are like, am I in a simulation? Am I the only person? I think there are two people. It's you and Christian Bale is everyone else.
What if there was one person and one day you're just like, you're wiping your face and you're like, what the fuck? And you just keep wiping and you realize and you've just wiped off the makeup and you are Christian Bale.
You're just so good at acting.
Yeah, you have forgotten entirely who you were. And you are now terrified, but also just so like, but you keep wiping to hope you can get all of it off, and you're Christian Bale with abs, but you're Christian Bale from that one movie where he's fat. You're fat.
The one where I'm Dick Cheney.
Yeah, you're Dick Cheney. Alternatively, what if Christian Bale tried to become you, and then he was like, you're like, Christian Bale, you're eating a lot and you're getting a lot of weight.
Christian. He's like, nope, just gotta really nail the role. Let's go to McDonald's again. I'm like, Christian. Yeah, Christian, like, stop.
Yeah. Like, we can go to Taco Bell. Christian.
Amish versus Mormons. There's a bunch of Amish people churning butter in their barn. They get a knock on the door. Mormons.
Well, the problem
who comes out alive?
Well, the problem is the Mormons are right. So this is going to be a tough. They
Amish
have God
don't
on their
give
side.
A fuck. Yeah, but the Amish have wood on their side.
So it's wood versus God.
Mm-hmm. A lot of wood, and also a lot of pluck and stick-to-itiveness and waking up early.
They're like the underdog team.
Who do you think wakes up earlier, Mormons or Amish?
Amish. They don't have clocks.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, and they don't have daylight savings. They don't have any of that shit.
They don't have daylight savings?
I don't know.
It's too technology-y.
Yeah.
What if they don't even have the sun?
Yeah,
they're like, no, we don't want that secular stuff.
Would you think it'd be hard to convince them? Like, no, what is that? And you would point at the sun, and they would stare at it and be like, I don't see anything.
I don't see it.
Dude, if you keep looking there, you're going to lose your eyesight.
So they're like, what do you see when you look around? They're like, everything is just black. There's no sun. I'm like, wait, what? How long have you been staring at the sun? They're like, there is no sun. They're like, oh my God. Yeah, as soon as they invented the heliocentric model of the universe, Amish people were like, fuck that. No sun. So they just point their babies at the sun until they can't see. And then when there's no sun, all you have left is the wood.
I think if it's God versus wood, I think wood wins. Woods are boats.
That's true. God tried to flood the world, but he lost to one boat.
Oh yeah, so I think boats
Do you feel like Amish people? Remember in Kids Next Door how they had like 2x4 technology where they'd make like giant Gundam robots out of wood? Do you think Amish people have big robots? But it's just like they have all the normal stuff, but it's all just made of wood.
But people are like, dude, the Gundam is. We don't even have that technology yet. They're like, no, this is
just simple family wood. We all raised this Gundam robot together. Yeah. We woke up at dawn and we raised.
Yeah, it's for churning butter. It's like, what? The Gundam robots for churning butter?
Each of them has to get in a different part. Like one of them's the head, two in the arms, two in the legs, and they just churn butter. Quick, battle station. The butter's going to curl. All right, my second question. You know how Mormons ride around on bicycles? but they all have, and they have all the rules. What if Mormons, how much more effective would they be at converting people to Mormonism and giving the Book of Mormon if they rode around on Harley Davidson hogs? They still have all the other rules of Mormonism. They still wear the suits. They don't curse. They don't drink caffeine, but they come up like, and they carry the Book of Mormon in one hand and chains in the other hand.
Are they a biker gang?
Yes. But they're still the same.
I think it'd be annoying when I went to pick up my meth if they were like, "Have you also heard about Mormonism?"
Yeah, you keep getting confused. They're like, "We don't sell meth here." You're like,
dude, why are we even here? Oh my god.
Why are you in the bad part of town? And they're like, that's who needs converting the most. You're like, that's nice.
I have a side note, but it's a funny story about biker gangs.
I love funny stories.
So it was St. Patrick's Day, like the year right before COVID. I think it was like 2019.
Mm-hmm.
2019. Yeah, and I was super drunk. And I saw a biker when we were bar hopping. So I went to go talk to one, and he kind of started off. He's like, I've been in the like leather community, and I thought he was talking about biker stuff because like bikers wear leather. So he goes on this rant about being in the leather community and being a biker and how great it is. And then I was like, oh, the leather community. And he was like, yeah, I'm really into BDSM. I've had 2 daddies for forever. And then I realized that the whole thing was a pitch because he wanted me to join the BDSM community. I was like, oh, this isn't cool. You're weird.
What if you could hire Mormons to be your salespeople for anything, including your kinky sex parties?
Your BDSM party?
You'd be like, hey,
I'll fund... also...
Yeah, they're going to also pitch Mormonism. But you're like, hey, just at the end, if you want me to fund your mission trips, just at the end, also mention that we're all doing anal at 9:00 at Fallout Bar in Richmond. It's going to be anal night. We're going to have DJ Poop Lips. So you should be a Mormon, but after you finish your reading, it's not that long of a book. After you finish reading the Book of Mormon, you should come down and get butt fisted, which is
not cheating.
Fine.
We talk about work stuff. We talk about work stuff. We barely even do the butt fist.
That's why the Mormons go along with your thing, because they're like, oh, that's fine. You can ass fist. We had a nice guy come and give a presentation to all the kids. What if it turned out NATO was short for Nathan?
God, I guess you've done it 3 times. I guess people will get it. Imagine that thing from Smash where it's like new challenger approaches.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's a team up battle between the 2 biggest L's America has ever faced. The war on drugs and the War of 1812. Those are the 2 biggest L's versus U.S. now. Who wins?
They're British.
The modern
coming
US
over.
Military.
They have muskets and they're bringing crack into the inner cities.
Yeah.
And Reagan just doesn't seem to understand.
Yeah, it's they have modern like drones versus a bunch of coked out British people. They're mad, dude. Let me use some context. They just came off the biggest L of their lives. They just lost America in the War of Independence, and they are coming to take names. And they just did a lot of crap. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. And I mean, for decades we've been trying this pull yourself up by your bootstraps thing, and that's not working. So we're gonna have to.
Yeah. What you think? Stop and frisk is gonna stop these British motherfuckers? It won't.
Yeah, they'd talk so fast, but be so catty.
Yeah, right. They'd be so catty. They'd be hurt. And then they'd pull out a musket, and then the police would shoot them.
Yeah, look, I hope this doesn't sound controversial at all. I really sincerely don't mean this in a mean-spirited way. So just, please understand what I'm about to say in the spirit in which it is being delivered. I think we should line up and shoot all of them.
All the
with guns. People? Yeah, we should line them all up, and we should shoot them. And if anybody says anything, we shoot them too.
Jesus.
Look, I feel like you're reading this in a negative light, which again, I really tried to warn against. I understand how this could be taken as sort of a controversial point. And like, I'm a good guy, I just mean we should shoot them all. We should kill all of them.
Just every British person, or just the 1812
We should
British
where they live, all of them, because the people from currently are the descendants of these traitors and these drug addicts. And once a drug addict, always a drug addict. And I mean that generationally.
Wow. We should kill all British people. What do you have to say to our British viewers?
It won't matter, though.
We'll find you.
Mm-hmm.
Then what? How do we stop the drugs?
Well, I mean, only British people do drugs. Everyone knows that.
Oh, it's because their teeth.
They put it in their teeth.
From all the meth.
You know what? I'm just going to end with a little joke. You know how, like, basically every cowboy movie is gay now? Like, if you can't, here's what I learned. It's an expression I'm trying to start. If you're watching a cowboy movie and you can't find the gay cowboy in the movie, you're the gay cowboy.
Wow.
Good night, everybody.